Hey, it's Jordan. We're still here in Bedminster. I think Trump is going to arrive soon for his speech at his golf club. We're here with Vinny. You got secession, 1776, America's oldest tradition, Confederate flag.
And this one too.
Okay. Is that?
It's the first national Confederate flag. A lot of people don't know it, but originally had the first 7 stars for the 7 states that seceded from the Union. And then as more stars went, the flag changed. So many people know the battle flag. What they don't know is the 2nd and 3rd national, which also included the battle flag.
Okay. So are you, obviously you know a lot of people will be offended, so are you like, you have it out for historical purposes, or more you think we should still have a succession where the South succeeds from the North? Tell me about why you're holding the flag.
Absolutely. So I was blessed to have ancestors that fought in the Confederacy, and I think in this day and age, when they started the attack on history, with the technical terms iconoclasm, it started with Confederate heritage. And we warned everyone that if it started with us, they were going to keep going. We've seen now where that's gone. Up in New York, they've attacked a memorial that was up in the State House in Albany. And they wanted to remove now, like, Arlington, that's on the chopping block now. And where does this end? We came together as a nation, and they honored both North and South with both flags with no problem. And the fact that in recent years they wanted to, take ours down, take our monuments down, I was ashamed and offended by that. They want to do something so evil like that.
So what do you say to, obviously, black people that say it should be taken down, because this is not about, when you're honoring this history, you're honoring people that held slaves, you're honoring people that saw black people as property, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you could put it in a museum, which has been talked about, and keep it in historical museums, but not at state capitals, not out in statues. Put it in a museum, not waving it around at political events and things like that, where it's going to offend a big proportion of America, which that represents their captivity, basically.
Not necessarily, because a lot of people don't know this fact, and there is a marker up in New Jersey. Many people don't know this, but the real Juneteenth, that was in New Jersey. January 23rd, 1866 was when the last slaves in America were freed. Now, when they talk about the slavery narrative, here's what's really interesting.
What's the slavery narrative? What do you mean?
So what happened when they talk about I call it the war between the states, but the Civil War, when they say it was all over slavery, there were northern slave states, and what they also forget was they had free men of color that fought for the Confederacy. There's several different heritage organizations. I can't speak on behalf of mine, but I'm a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Our chapter in New Jersey has a man who is black and had a free ancestor who is black and fought for the Confederacy. He's proud of the flag, and it really puts in perspective that it is in everybody's war. I myself am half Puerto Rican, and it's also awesome to know that there were Latinos that fought in the Confederacy. More Native Americans that fought in the Confederacy is the Cherokee Braves. They had a special flag designated to them, and women as well.
Would you agree with honoring Confederate history, but in museums where people who want to see it can go, but not out at state capitals, not out in statues, in basically historical entities like museums?
Not at all, and the reason why is because we've had issues with museums either putting false information in. We've had museums such as the one in Richmond. Richmond has a museum that took that gravestone of General A.P. Hill when he was dug up last year in it was December 2022. They took the gravestone, they dug him up, and his gravestone was dedicated to the museum. And the unfortunate part too was also seeing what happened in 2020. 2 museums were set on fire, and we lost historical artifacts. So by putting everything in one museum where it could be a target or be attacked, I don't agree with that, and I think that we have the First Amendment right, and we should be out there honoring both sides.
So let me ask you, did you say you're part Puerto Rican?
Yes, sir.
So just playing devil's advocate, if you have Puerto Rican heritage, if people were chanting, slurs towards Puerto Ricans or doing things that were offensive to Puerto Ricans, or, there was people celebrating Puerto Rico colonialism, would you be okay with them outwardly kind of being
so like a colonial monument in Puerto Rico?
No. Would you be okay with people out and about, with chanting anti-Puerto Rican slurs, or with symbols that might be offensive to Puerto Ricans or things like that, if it offended a whole, Puerto Rican obviously is not the same as black people, but offended
We're
a whole
mixed
people.
culture. Right. Puerto Rico, people don't know this, they had slavery longer than the United States of America.
So would you be offended is my question.
I'm not offended by a monument of a colonist. I'm not offended by the whole colonism narrative. Puerto Rico, we're proud of our heritage. I had an ancestor on that side who was enslaved, I don't feel like I'm entitled to reparations. I have it amazing in this country. We have it amazing in Puerto Rico as well. I think it's history, and we gotta be proud of it.
Okay. And last question on this, and then we'll get to the arrest. What would you say to a group of black people that are very offended by that? They see their ancestors who were slain. I understand you're saying there were some black people that fought for the Confederacy. I don't really know the history enough to know that, but for the most part, the majority of black people did not fight for the Confederacy. That's a fact. And the majority of black people see the Confederate flag as just...
I wouldn't even say the mass majority.
Yes, the vast majority.
No, usually...
I would factually say the mass majority of I'm white, but the mass majority of black people see that as a hate symbol. So even though you believe...
But what about the American flag that flew on the slave ships?
One second. Even though you believe we shouldn't, be ashamed of it, if it is so offensive to such a large percentage of the country, if we want to come together as a people, we're not talking about burn the flag, we're talking about put it in museums and things like that. Why is that not a decent compromise?
Because look at where that's led. Not only taking monuments down, or even headstones in this case, the fact that they want to destroy a monument in Arlington National Cemetery, that whole debate thing when they said put the monuments in graveyards, put them in museums, it doesn't work because it led to them either being vandalized more, being removed from a cemetery like what they want to do to Arlington, or in Richmond. And I think that if people are so offended, they have to take a look in the mirror and figure out why. Don't look at it. Don't visit the monument. No one's forcing you to. There's monuments I don't agree with, but guess what? I walk past them.
Let me ask you, there's a real, it seems like a normalization right now. We just saw images of Nazis outside the Disney World sign. There's been Nazis outside Ron DeSantis events. Trump, I've seen at some events for Trump over the years, kind of neo-Nazis with swastikas and things like that. Why do you think there's this kind of surge in neo-Nazism in America that seems to be gravitating towards Republican candidates?
I think a lot of it, and I have not seen neo-Nazi stuff in New Jersey, but I've seen pictures, and I think a lot of it looks suspicious. I do believe that a lot of them are plants, or they're made to go there. I mean, we've seen...
I don't think they're all plants.
There were members of BLM that were attacking the Jewish community in New Jersey, putting on swastikas, and BLM did that. And that
really?
was... Yes,
you got
it was.
Proof of that?
Yes, it was in Jersey.
You have proof?
Proof? Ask the Jewish community there, because they have proof about that.
Where in New Jersey?
It was South Jersey in the Orthodox Jewish community.
Okay. So you're saying, let's say the Nazis that were outside of Disney World the other day, you think they're all plants?
I think they're plants. My own personal opinion.
Based on what?
The fact that we have not seen neo-Nazism in any Trump movement that was legit.
All the neo-Nazis that have ever gone to not just Trump events, DeSantis events, they showed up to drag queen shows. He covered one. Neo-Nazis in Ohio showed up because they were very opposed to children being read stories by a drag queen.
Who was naked, essentially.
No, she wasn't naked. All of them are plants? That sounds kind of wacky.
I do believe they are plants.
All of them? Every single one?
A vast majority, yeah. While I think that there definitely are maybe some legitimate ones, I don't see it out.
I think you're kind of full of shit.
I mean, that's a match.
I gotta tell you. I'm trying to be respectful, but you can't say every single neo-Nazi outside Disney World at the drag queen show, they're all plants. Put in by who?
I mean, okay.
You have George Soros, you do have that, which is proof.
Why is the automatic
because he has been behind a lot of that stuff.
Is George Soros, he's responsible for everything?
He funded Antifa, he did fund, yes, he sure did.
Okay, so they're all plants, got it. Trump arrest. I read the indictment, did you?
I did.
You read the 49 pages?
I did.
Okay, cool. So what do you think? Because Trump seems to be going back and forth. First he says he declassified all of it, but now he's saying a lot of it was planted. It seems like he's changing the story a bit. And there is audio, the prosecutor claims, there's audio of Trump in July of 2021 at the club down here, holding a classified document, telling an author that I want to show you this, but I can't because it's classified, and I should have declassified it, but this is classified and I can't show it to you. What do you think about that?
I think that Trump, I will always stand by him, and I think that this is just really unfortunate.
You will always stand by him no matter what?
I will stand by Trump because he actually has principles for this country.
But no matter what, even if he commits a crime?
I don't think he committed a crime.
But if he commits a crime, would you still stand by him?
Yes.
If he commits a crime, you'd stand by him?
But he did not commit a crime.
I'm asking you if he committed any crime. If he shot somebody on Fifth Avenue, that was the famous thing.
Well, homicide, obviously no one's agreeing with homicide. Like, let's be frank with that.
Homicide is where we draw the line.
But what they're accusing him of is absolutely ridiculous, and it's a political theater.
Why do you think it's ridiculous?
because Biden had documents at his house.
I keep hearing
And
that. Let's say
Hunter had the laptop from hell, which was real.
All right, let's
and
just
they
say
chose
this.
to ignore that.
Let's just
and
say
they lied
this.
about it.
Let's say this for a second.
Mention Obama.
Let's say,
that
in a theoretical world, because I think Hillary should have been indicted. I certainly would have been. So let's say Hillary was indicted. Let's say Hunter's indicted. In this theoretical world, though they were indicted, right? If Trump had classified documents that were not declassified, let's just say, and they included defense papers, attack plans on a foreign country, the names of spies. If these other people were indicted, so we take them off the board, do you think Trump, if that was government property, it wasn't his property anymore, would you think he should be prosecuted and convicted?
Well, I think we'd have to know the whole case. I don't think Trump knowingly would ever do anything illegal to hurt the American people. I do not believe that
You
Trump
read the
would.
indictment. He told his people to move the boxes before the DOJ came. He told his lawyer to tell the DOJ we don't have the documents. So what do you mean?
On story.
You read the indictment. That's what the indictment is saying.
I don't think it alluded to that. It was something totally different.
I mean, I read the indictment. I'm telling you, his
I think it's how you were
lawyer.
interpreting it.
No, his lawyer is a witness. Evan Cochran is a witness saying he told me to tell them. Can we just tell them we don't have the documents? When he had the documents.
That sounds a lot of hearsay, though.
No, it's his lawyer as a witness telling.
Testifying against him, though.
Yes.
But what's
So
his
you
motive
think-
to testify against him?
The president, or former president, allegedly told him to lie to the DOJ.
I don't
So-
know. That's not how it works.
What are you talking about? You said you read the indictment. He is a witness.
I read the
telling-
indictment. Does not mean I agree with the indictment because we've seen what's been happening though recently with the fixing of the courts, the
The
packing of the courts.
indictment has no bias. Like
It's
not
full of bias.
drafted to support a narrative.
No, we can't hear you. You gotta
I'm
come
just
back.
saying, it's like